Hello, and welcome to the Bold Black Girls Podcast. I'm Aries.
And I'm Kim.
And we're back. I had to do that. I'm trying to get my life together because I've been having hasn't been terrible. It's just been emotional.
It's been emotional. So let's check in.
Yeah.
It is October.
It is, girl.
I did not realize it. I had a friend whose birthday's on the 1st. I felt bad because I didn't text him. I'm like, I am sorry. I did not realize we were in October.
It's craziness. I feel like every year we do this where you be like, dang, it's already this. It's like the years are just going by super fast.
Autumn is here. Fall is here. The Texas State Fair is here.
I won't be there.
I will. Yeah, somebody asked me the other day, like, you want to? No.
We got the free tickets for the kids.
Oh, did you?
You know how they get a kid or whatever. I'm like, that ain't going to do it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be around all those crowds.
That's actually how I've been feeling.
Getting tickets, waiting in line.
People smelling like sweat. And yeah, it is. And honestly, we're going to talk about that. Like autumn is here. Fall is here. And I have been feeling like you've been feeling something, of course, because you're going through mourning and, you know, the emotions of that. But I always feel like in the fall time, and your mom just stopped by. So we were talking with her. And I was like, I feel a shift, like change.
As the seasons are changing.
And like I'm driving, I'm like, look at the trees changing, right? The colors, the leaves. I also feel like I'm getting ready for fall. I bought an UGG cover.
Oh,
so I can snuggle.
You act like it get that cold though. Does it?
In the winter?
I don't know. I guess not.
The ice storm, Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
But that was like February or something like that. Well, the climate is changing, child. We done had a whole freaking hurricane in Florida. God bless the people over there that are dealing with flooding and stuff. And that has a lot to do with like climate change and stuff that I think people don't really realize. Like how the atmosphere is affected, warm weather, cold front. I mean, you know, I'm not a meteorologist or anything.
Well, sometimes you do.
But I pay attention to it because I don't like crazy weather. So, you know, and here we have to look at like tornadoes and stuff. But those hurricanes, that thing tore up that west side of Florida. And the flooding, and it was just water. I'm like, I had a little bit of water damage in my house and I was going crazy.
Freaking out.
Imagine all of this being filled up with water
in the house.
Oh, I would just be like, I'm just
take
moving.
Me to the king.
Right. I'm just let me move, you know, like
the woman is not king, but take me to the king.
But then you got people who don't have funds. You know, think about people who are homeless. I was thinking about that today. I was like, people who were homeless, like living on the street, you know how we be having people in Dallas and San Francisco and all these places that live in tents and stuff under.
Yes, tent city.
What do you do when those type of situations happen?
Like they have like shelter for them.
I'll be like, well, give me. If you got it for me when it's a tornado or a hurricane, then let me come on up in here. But yeah, so that stuff that's happening right now too.
Couldn't even imagine. It's just like, you know, in Houston when they have the floods.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to live
that Gulf Coast.
Yes,
is pretty much because that has that warm, something with the warm water or something over there. I don't know, but
so let's check in with the fall. Like, how are you feeling? What season do you feel like you're currently in?
I'm in. It's time to let go of some things. And it's like I'm paying a lot more attention to my energy that I'm giving out because I'm trying to harness as much as I can of it because like right now with my dad, you know, passing and every day is a different day for me. Like yesterday was just cry day, like cry all day, like from the morning. I had breaks in and out, you know, to do stuff and come back. And I just was in a tender emotional state. Today, even like when I was getting ready for church, I was like, I ain't putting no mascara on because I already know I can feel it. I'm like, when worship starts, I'm about to be in it. So like, and thank the Lord he was there today because like we stayed in worship an extra 15 minutes today because I was sitting right by the, I'd be in the front, like the old ladies, second row. But I'm sitting right by the time, like where they show the time.
Yes.
And we were like -20 or something. Cause I mean, we were going in. Like, and it was exactly what I needed. And what got me too was like they would sing songs that were like,
remind you
you're a good father.
Yes.
Jesus, take
your
me out.
triggers.
It was like all these father references. And I just was like, nah. Oh my God. So that had me, but I'm embracing it, like, and allowing myself to feel. I even told the boys like yesterday, because I was in the living room. Kevon Stage's brother passed away as well, Jason, and I followed him on Instagram. Like I've been following him as long as I followed Kevin, really, because he was a part of the Playmakers group that is what made me even know who Kevon Stage was. And his funeral was yesterday. So they streamed it live. So while I was already tender, but I went and sat and watched the service and stuff. And there was just a couple moments there where I just was like, Lord Jesus.
Yes, I remember when my father passed and just going to a funeral, it does bring up those emotions, and it's like it takes time.
Yeah. I mean, it just, you never know the day. Like when
there will be something that will remind you of him. And
today I had a moment because my son was playing, LJ was playing on the VR, and I heard him say, my dad used to always say, like if you call and let's say he calls and you be like, what's up? And he'll be like, you and the things you do. Like that was his little saying, right? So every time when he would say you, then we would be the ones be like, and the thing, like we'll say it with him, So he was on the VR and he was talking about something. And he said something like, and the things you do or something like, and I was just like, so it's been kind of that type of weekend. And like I said, I've just been embracing it and allowing myself to do that. But it's making me reevaluate a lot as far as like what I'm, like I said, giving my energy to and stuff. So like I was walking in the neighborhood the other day and I was just like, you need to really pull back from some things. So y'all about to hear about me pulling back from some stuff that I've been doing. And I feel really good about it. Like I was like, I really need to talk to God about what I'm doing with my energy and where it's going out to and bring it on back in so I can harness it in the right places. And so I'm just kind of in that space right now saying like, I really need to take an account of what I have going on because I'm tired. One of the reasons I cried yesterday, I was like, I need some help. I'm tired of this. I don't want to be the only one doing everything. Yes. I'm over this, y'all. I am over it. I ain't even gonna lie. I can't hold you.
And we chatted for a little bit. So I'm kind of like, in a season, I think I've already shared this with people that, really I fall back anyway. Like I go into hibernation hermit mode. Number one, I don't like the cold. And it's an opportunity to refocus for me. And then I feel like also I'm on a journey of like healing the old Kim before 40. Right? Evolving and becoming something, as Michelle would say, becoming. And I think it's also from burnout of so many years of doing it. Yes. And so I am finally now, because my daughter's a young adult, I'm getting the rest that I didn't get. And even like we've had conversations, she was like, how did you do all of that? Like you were driving me all the way to Dallas and driving, back and forth, come home, cook
St. Phillips
and make dinner and then do it all over again. And then activities on the weekend. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was a lot.
That's how I feel right now.
That's a lot. And you're overwhelming. I think as Black women, we are tired. We're exhausted. I was talking to a male friend of mine and we were just talking about the INDEPENDT independent.
I'm over it.
Like, I don't know who started that. I said, but look at us. Just look at us.
We are it's all bad. Like for me, and we've talked about this when it comes to like singleness and all that stuff. Like, of course, as an adult, we can take care of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But I also feel like if the reason why there has been obviously partnerships is to make it easier, like for everybody involved, right? Like there's always somebody getting something that they need. So whether it's a traditional situation where the husband was the provider, and for him, bringing the bacon in was his value that he brought into the family. He will make sure all the protecting things are happening around the house. He's going to be the one checking the door if something happened and making sure the lawn is mowed and things like that. I mean, and I grew up in a house like that with my stepdad, one of my stepdads. Yeah. She was married to him for the longest. So anyway, 12 years. That was a big pivotal part of my life. And then my mom was the stay-at-home wife. She didn't work. He did not want her to work. He was very into you just stay home, take care of house and home, da da da. You know what I mean? So I've seen it all. And when I was a wife, I was a damn good wife.
Right.
And I'm like, I didn't appreciate those good wifely years that I had in me back then. Now I'm like, I don't even be want to cook and stuff.
Listen, I literally told Erica hit me up. She was like, I was like, oh, you posting all these recipes. She said, I want to be like Kim and cook. I was like, girl, I have not had the energy. I was like, I need me a good man that can go out there and bring the groceries and I will cook it. Right. And I like quality meat. So get the right type of meat.
Organic.
I need to be able to trust you. And I thought back to that. We were talking about that sitting on the couch. The Black family dynamic, right? You said you saw your stepdad, or in the reverse, I had an older father who was retired. So I saw him do way more than probably what most men do today. But then I think back to is like, is there way more or was it really just a partnership?
And it was whatever you need it to be.
Yes.
Like, I always say this. I'm like, I don't need my thing to look like anybody's thing.
Correct.
I have certain things that if it works, what I bring works for what you need in your partner. And you bring what I need. Together, we're getting what we both need. And now we're still keeping the thing going. We're still moving the ship along, and all that. But I was really like on some, I want my sons to see. How are they going to know if they're not seeing? It's one thing to tell them, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it. And
that's what we talked about that today.
You need to see a man loving on your mom.
Catering.
You need to see someone being
loving,
like doing it. Their dad, I didn't mention this last time, that he's engaged now, right?
Okay, congratulations.
Okay, so he got engaged in August, earlier in August. And so once they, solidify their situation, then they'll get to see him, be a husband and stuff like that. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. But, I control my narrative.
Exactly.
So I'm like, I still want them to see that. And so I was even thinking like, dang, like now I see why some people will stay in things because they want to let the kids see this. I would only want it if it's a healthy situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because
healthy.
It's not good. They know, like kids aren't dumb. Like if the situation ain't right. But anyway, I just was on some like, I'm tired. Like, why can't just like, I just want to just not do it all.
Right. Partnership. Right. Tired. I mean.
And as the only child, yes. With my mom, I'm the only, I have a sister, but I'm the only one doing anything. Keeping it 1,000.
It's a lot of
I do it all.
You do a lot too.
I have 2 children of my own. I have myself. Like, and then you got a job and you got it's like, I'm just
overwhelmed. You have a lot on your plate. We are tired. We are exhausted. And then they say, why are we angry? We aren't angry. We are tired.
I'm not angry. I'm just tired. And I want reciprocation. Like I know I put out a lot of things into the world, and I have to talk to God about it because some of this stuff is just
who you are,
who I am, who he made me to be, how I am and stuff like that. So I'm like, I know a lot of it is going along with my purpose, so that's important to me. But I'm also like, Lord, because I had a conversation with him about this. I was like, okay, I'm ready. And you can send my help now.
Send my help. Okay.
Thanks. Whatever that looks like, that what I'm needing, to feel relieved. And I feel like we need to be honest and have that talk with God about what is it that I need? What am I?
Right.
You know, obviously I need him. He's
Mhm.
everything. He can fulfill all those things and all that. Great. Get inside somebody's body and make them come help me do it in the physical realm.
In a healthy, positive, productive way.
Right.
I mean, we both daddy's girls. Like I said, my dad as I got older, he would go to the grocery store. He knew I liked to cook. And he would go get the things that he knew I would cook. And I would cook them for him.
My dad would do that, but it wouldn't be like, this is what he wanted to eat.
Okay.
He'll be like, I brought a pork chop. I'll be like, I don't even make pork chops.
Pork chops too. I used to make pork chops.
I was like,
and I would grill them up like steak with like onions and make baked potatoes. And so I'm like, where are those men at?
Girl, don't ask for those guys.
Why?
Because they're 80 and 70 years old.
Well, so I like them older, not that old.
Those are the OGs.
Oh gosh.
I think we have to think about what raised us. Because that's who they are.
Cultural.
Yeah. I mean, whatever raised you is why you're the way you are today. And a lot of, what raised us from back in the day, depending upon what your household situation was looking like and how healthy the dynamic was. If you have a mom and a dad in the house, if you had a co-parenting situation that was baby mama, baby daddy drama, was it good? Was it, there's so many dynamics because I think about it with the boys all the time. I'll just be thinking like, are they like, I can feel like I'm doing all this stuff, but sometimes I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and I can relate to what you were saying when we were chatting yesterday. Like, I look back over it like, Kiara didn't see anybody really like truly care for me and love me. And like, is she going to be okay? Like, what have I done? Because I intentionally was like, I don't want to bring other men around her.
But you ain't.
Or did I do a disservice?
What you going to do? How you going to fix it? Where you going to build a man at?
Girl.
It ain't on you.
Therapy.
As long as we're doing the work, I feel like it'll come in due time. Yeah. I mean, it's okay I think I'm expressing my frustration with the fact that I do feel like I've been doing a lot of work. God knows whether I'm ready or not, which is why it ain't here, which I'm fine with. But I still want to let him know that I'm frustrated and I'm tired. And
I say, prepare me and prepare him, please.
Right. Just help me stay strong until whenever.
Right.
Because I don't want to be strong. I want to just rest in your arms, dear Father.
I love that. I love that vulnerability because I think sometimes we aren't honest about what we want. And speaking that, that comes through the strong Black, I got this. No, I don't. I'm tired.
Because they'll because I'm doing something doesn't mean that. What did I tell you with LJ just earlier? I had him in there. I've been on him about that, because we'll come across guys and they'll be like, and when we did the Ready to Love reviews and everything, they'll be like, my mom was a single woman, single mother, and she did all these things. And like it's a badge of honor. And I'll be like, did you ask your mama if she wanted to?
Remember the conversation in California, and I had to remind them.
But did you ask your mom?
Yes.
Don't give her all this crown of superwoman. She didn't want to be.
She had to
I bet you if somebody asked her if she wanted some help, she would have been like, yes, please.
She was put in that position, unfortunately.
So I tell LJ and them all the time, I'm like, when you grow up, if you don't remember nothing, and don't be going to no chick telling her how your mama did all this stuff. I don't want to.
I love that you said that because I think that conversation wasn't had. Like, we weren't having they weren't having those conversations and being honest about it. Like the conversation I have with my daughter, my mother probably, she did not have them.
You heard my mom and how we, like the dynamic of my family, like it's a matriarchy. And it was very like, if we need the men for muscle, we'll call them, but we don't. And they did not believe in men putting their hands on kids. So it's like, if you are raising a child, I don't care if you're married to the dude, I don't care what the situation is, he does not whip that child. Like if y'all believe in whippings, which they did back in the day. You better not touch her. You better not touch this child. Like that was the conversation. It wasn't no, babe, let's figure out. Don't put your hands on my child. Like the kid comes first.
So basically they ran it.
Yeah. And the kids come first before the dude and the whoever, they come first. And so it was like, I knew even then, I'm like, this is not right. When I was little, I'd be like, but I don't understand. I remember having those conversations. Like, what if you want to love the guy and have these, they're like, girl, no, this is not how it is. So like, I just wasn't taught that way. So the way I do it is totally against my family's. It's like that meme I sent you. Everything I do is not, it's going against the typical
culture.
system.
Yep. Of what it was back in the day.
Yeah. It's this, the system is not the same. Like my kids, and sometimes I'll be like, am I doing it? Is it okay? Like, should I be doing it this way? Yes. Should I go back to the old way? No. Because I'll be like, are they getting what they need? Like,
I think we can take some things from the past, but we also need to evolve, right? Because you look back at some of that, according to TikTok videos,
gentle parenting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Every child is different. Every family is different. I'm with you. Like that dysfunction, it comes through with boundaries, right? And we talked about loving versus liking. That was like a little debate that we was having out there. There are 7 different types of love, right? And so, as we're looking to mate with someone or partner, rather, I asked the question.
Because I ain't mating, honey. I hadn't had my children.
Hey, girl, I have nothing to mate. Loving and liking.
Yes.
Do you feel like, okay, so what you saw growing up.
Yeah.
Was love important?
No.
Was liking important? You like this person? Because the debate was,
not necessarily.
I've said this isn't a relationship.
You need the man to like you and love you more than you like him. This is how I was taught. I'm just
gotcha.
Not that that's how I still kind of believe it. Mm-hmm. That's just because of how emotional we are as women, and we're gonna be like giving so much of our emotions to the situation. I'm like, no, I need you to be on me. Like I need my man to be feeling a way about me.
Okay.
But I think that's the part of like the what you want to get out of the situation, right? So I was taught the man is the provider. Like this is coming from a different era as well. You know what I'm saying?
We have to evolve.
And so you have to think about, what do I need in a partner? Mm-hmm. So I would like to like the person. That's important to me.
I need to like the person.
Right? I need to like you. And you're gonna, as you build on your relationship, you're gonna grow in love with this person, because you're gonna start doing things with each other. You're gonna sacrifice things for each other. You're gonna be doing like our friendship. You think about a friendship, you can start being like, I like her. She cool. I can hang around this person.
Right.
Then you spend more time with the person, and then y'all go through things. And that's how you start solidifying that you care more about this, like you're caring more about this person than just general like.
Like right? I love this person because, we talked about like in love, and even outside of like a romantic relationship, like just this example, your mom and I said, you can love someone, but you don't like their ways.
Right.
That's and true. I feel like sometimes like that love get you through. However,
that's true.
However, it's not to a fault that I won't implement boundaries.
Got to implement boundaries.
And I think boundaries is something we have back in the day. That was no such thing as a boundary. It was like, by all means, you got to do whatever, go through thorns for your family.
That's your blood.
Yes.
Blood is thicker than water.
Even if they down you, like, one of the things that I don't like to hear people say, and you never know a person's relationship with their parent, like, oh, that's your mom, that's your dad. Know the story, because you don't know what the background is.
Yeah.
Regardless of
parents be molesting their kids.
Hello. So we need to stop that narrative. That's why, I'm like, no, there are some things that we do need to change.
And that's why I told my kids when they were young, I'm like, first of all, you don't let nobody touch you in your private areas.
Right.
I don't care if it's your grandma, daddy, uncle, auntie, nobody, because these are things that people are like, oh, well, this is so-and-so, I need to let them be, and it's like, no. So that's another thing that I do a little different. Like, I don't teach my kids that just because somebody older, you got to listen to what they say.
Boom.
Because they could be saying some dumb stuff.
And, respect is shown as well. So, like, if you respect them, they also need to give you your respect, and making sure that you're not uncomfortable, or, be able to voice your opinion in a respectable way.
But kids, weren't encouraged
at all.
We weren't.
You sure we're not?
opinion.
Kiara sent me this clip about the guy was like, he was apologizing for having an opinion with no money. And I was like, I thought back to that. I was like, I didn't even know what an opinion was.
For real, though. I mean, I did, but I wasn't privy to using it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
With
like,
my parents.
I bet not. Whatever you cooking for dinner. Yes, ma'am.
I've slept at the table many a night because I did not want to eat the food.
I bet.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we have to learn, you know, one of the arguments I got into with my ex-husband back in the day, not even with him, with his family. If y'all are watching, you know, it's true. But we had got into it about calling before you come. Right? That's a boundary.
Absolutely.
And you would think that that's one of the ones that you just kind of like,
well, it depends on how you were raised. But it's a boundary for me. Like, please call.
And for me, it's a boundary. For the family, it was like, well, because we're family, we can just come whenever we want. Like, we shouldn't have to call, you know? And I'm like, well, that's not how I roll. You know, I need to know you're coming. Give me a heads up, you know, so that I can make space I can let you know if I'm available. What if I'm in my drawers? I don't feel like being bothered.
Hello.
What if I'm not here? I mean, you know, so that was kind of my thought process about it. But that's, again, these are boundaries that sometimes they never get set because you're just like, oh, I'm just going to leave it alone or avoid, you know, and get out. And it just doesn't help because it, you know.
And people get upset sometimes, you know, when, like, I have a boundary of trying, like, self-preservation. There are certain things and days that I don't like to go out because I know my energy level. Like, if I go out to Lava Cantina on Sunday, I am going to be worn out Monday through Thursday. So because that's a boundary for me, like, hey, I don't really want to go out. Don't take offense to that. It's a me thing.
But the thing is, people be selfish. And I just know that, like, especially with boundaries, your boundaries will have somebody being like, oh, she funny acting.
Yes.
She's, you know, she thinks she better than us, you know, or whatever it is, because they want what they want. And I started learning, like, your attitude you have right there about my decision, not my problem. I'm not even going to take it into my spirit. I'm not even going to consider it, honestly. If it's something that I've done that was bad, I will apologize for it and I will take on accountability for it and all that kind of stuff. But just because, if you mad just because it's something that I decided to do for me and me, that affects me, that don't even really affect you.
That is.
You on your own.
Yeah.
With them feelings. Because I'm just not, I can't babysit adults.
And even like you said, even with parents, like, I've adopted something with Kiara because, you know, I think back to some things that as a only child, right, as that my mother has done, like be thoughtful and considerate. So I try to have more consideration. And I say, hey, if you can do this, if you have time, let me know. If you don't, I will understand. Do not feel pressured that you have to do this. And I feel like back in the day, it was pressure that
do what I say.
Yeah, no matter how old you were.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we need to release.
That's what my mom was talking about today when she was saying that. Because, like, I told you, my family, and they feel like it doesn't matter how grown you are. You can get checked at any age as long as the adult is alive. You know, if your mama 50, 50 and you 30, she can still check you. That's how they do. And I just am different because I felt like I was on my own at 16. So once I'm on my own,
doing my own thing,
and technically 17, I was officially like on my own. I don't need to talk to you about my decisions anymore. I'm not under your roof. You're not paying my bills. I don't need to tell you anything.
I don't owe you an explanation.
And I live like that. So, like, it really did affect, like, me and my mom's relationship at one point, because I was like, no, this is not what's going to happen. And she's like, I'm the mother, trying to pull that card. And I was like, okay, be the mother, but we still ain't going to be doing it. Like, and that was rough because it will tell you now, like, she was like, it's hard when you're a parent and it's finally like that point where you can't tell your kid what to do. And it's like You know, especially if you're coming from that era where
Right.
it's like this is a respect thing for you to just do whatever your parent says.
Absolutely.
And it's been a process, I think, even with my mom. Like, she doesn't accept it all the way. Like, she's still be like, you suck, you know, or whatever. But I stick to it pretty hard.
And it's
when it
a
comes
balance.
to certain things.
It's a balance because you silence your kids when you tell them that they can't say no. I want Kiara to be empowered to say no and not be a yes woman, because sometimes you got to say no to some things so that you can say yes to other things, to the right things. And I think in the Black community, like, we're just now learning boundaries and learning how to say no.
We have to have courage, though.
Yep.
Because that's what it is. It's like, and I said this earlier about like fear of scrutiny, fear of shame, fear of being ostracized, isolated in the family, you know, people being like, oh, she thinks she, whatever. Call it what you want. Cause I remember I had a cousin who was like calling LJ and Marvin Timmy and Tommy or something like that. She was saying like, oh, cause Timmy and Tommy can't, like they little point Dexter or something. I'm like, don't get mad cause my kids ain't all, you know, struggling right now.
Right.
That I struggled enough.
Yep. So
that's why they don't have to struggle. I struggle. I put in enough struggle work for all of us at this point. So call it what you want, but this is what we do.
Call it what you may.
And you don't have to be a part of it. Like, you know, so I think you do have to be bold in order to implement these type of things, especially when it comes to like your mom. When they come in after you had that baby and they be like, no, this is how you're supposed to wrap the baby and you're supposed to leave that baby on her stomach and let her, you know, and all this stuff and feed her this cereal at 2 months old and put that in the bottle and all these rules that they feel very strongly about. They done raised 5, 10, 15 kids and I know how to do it. And you're saying, well, actually, I would like to do it by the book and I'm trying to do it this way and I want to feed my kids the organic and do it at the right months. You will have a fight. And it will be, you know, you have your mom, well, forget it. And I ain't gonna watch the child, you know, and all this kind of stuff. Right. And it's like,
and you know, Jada has talked about something in Bible study. She said, the problem is we're giving unsolicited advice we haven't even been asked. Right. So that's also an issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask me for advice, I will give it to you. I'm not going to just, you know, outright tell you, you know, I will deliver to Kiara like, hey, would you like some advice? But I think in the Black community, it's like, well, this what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. And I wouldn't do that if I was you. You're not me. And this is a different time.
Listen, I'm getting better at the not giving advice thing.
Not giving advice, you know,
listening. Letting someone tell you all the things. And you're like, wow, how did you feel about that? Mm-hmm. Like, did that make you feel a certain type of way? Like, I will guide you into thinking about the situation. But I'd rather you come to your own conclusion at the end, because then I've been learning this because I've been really doing a good job with this. I find that we discuss it. I bring up my concerns based on asking you questions to see if you see the same things. If you don't see what I see, like if I say, well, did that feel like a red flag to you? Mm-hmm. Or was it a deal breaker? And then you're like, no, cool. Keep going. In my mind, I'm like, they need more time. Mm-hmm. They need more time to work this out for themselves. I don't have to tell you, no, you need to leave him, girl.
Exactly.
And you need to, I'm not going to do that.
Listen, I will have you like a therapy. I'll say, hey, let's unpack that. Right. And just go down that line of, if it's worth it. Like, right. So again, I'm not going to get too in, like I used to tell Kiara,
don't get in other people's business.
Does it impact you? Mm-hmm. Because if it doesn't, you really don't need to be in it. And she told me to this day, she was like, that's the best advice you could have given. Because my mother, all up in everybody else's business.
That's when you don't have your own.
I'm like, so how is this going to help you? Well, I was just asking. Again, how is it going to help you? Will it matter 2 months from now? 2 years from now? Again, we talked about some things that we're not going to do, right? That you're going to see less of. I literally have 5 questions that I ask myself before I go outside.
Is it worth putting on a bra?
Number 1. Step 1.
Right.
How much is it going to cost?
Right.
Who all going to be there?
Who all going to be there? Who made the potato salad?
What's the reviews?
Right.
Is that place good? How is the service?
Exactly.
Is it
Ooh.
worth it? So I just feel like, we just need to take a step back.
And be okay with, first of all, what I'm going through right now is like allowing myself to feel. We feel a way about things and don't express them a lot of times because of the things we're talking about right now. Some of it could be like, well, I don't want to say nothing because she's going to get mad. Because we worry about how somebody else is going to feel. And I think the healthy route is saying, let me look at my mental health and myself and say, what am I doing? Because this is truly a part of my purpose and my plan that I need to work through. Maybe it's just a tough time and I need to push through and build some muscle up in this area. That's real, those are moments there too. But then there's some that's like, I'm doing this because I feel kind of pressured to do it.
Right. And I don't want to be in a friendship like that. Like,
or
show up,
work at a company, work for a business, donate my time. I don't care what it is. I don't want to feel like I'm doing it because Kim gonna be mad at me if I don't do it.
And I don't want a friend to feel like they're going, if you say, hey, we've talked about this, you cancel, we don't get offended. For me, red flag. Now, if it's something where I want to show up for you, because that's love. When you don't want to show up, but you are going to show up for that friend, that is some love. But there are times when it's like, oh, hey, I'm really not feeling it, right? Respect it.
Yeah. And as I got older, I feel like I respect other people's. I ain't gonna be there more because I'll be like, child, I'm not even committing until I know for sure.
Listen,
because I'm
buy the ticket the day of, like, okay, yeah, because you never know how that person's like, what mood they're in.
Because I didn't got up at 4:00 in the morning getting ready to go on the flight and was like, I ain't going. I don't feel like it.
But you've been busy.
But remember I did that?
I remember.
For the wedding?
And you were feeling kind of bad at
first. I was like, and it was one of those moments where I'm like, my family going to be like, And I'm like, well, how did I become the representative? And then I just talk myself, but you don't want to do this. You don't feel like it. You don't have to do this. Like,
what Escape say, what we need is understanding.
What I need from you is understand.
You got to communicate.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
And
another thing too that I want to share is, like, I went out with a friend from Chicago who relocated here a few years ago, and she invited just a few ladies out of people who she thought was on her journey of moving in her village. And she went around and talked about each other friends, and she was like, Kim and I, we worked together, and we had a moment. We had a moment where I thought our friendship wasn't going to make it. And I told her that was mercy and grace. And so I think too is like, I will assess the situation and say, like, is this a person that I want to extend mercy and grace to? At the core, is it worth it?
Yeah. You got to have those conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
And that may include family. I'm just saying. It can include family. Yeah. For some of us, it's people who are like, what we talk about, I can love you from a distance.
Well, I don't have to be around you. Like the things that you do.
Because COVID helped me. The pandemic, the quarantine time that we had in the first part, because there are certain times where my phone rings and I do not feel obligated to answer it. I'll be like, you know what? Not right now. I'm not in the mood for that. Like, and that's fair. My energy is not ready to have a conversation with this person. And later I will. Yeah. But right now I'll be like, I'll talk to them later. Like, and I don't feel bad about missing it. I'm like, well, back in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have cell phones. So remember how you just wasn't at home? You just missed the call. You just missed the call. Leave a message on the voicemail.
No caller ID or anything like that.
Right.
Rotary. Some stuff I wish we could go back to.
I know. I'm like, ooh, remember when we didn't have to be on the phone all day?
Or that FaceTime, girl. That gets me. Sometimes I disable that.
It's some of it I like, and some of it I'm just kind of like, it has become too much. Like, especially in my house now, Marvin has a phone. I'm like, it's too much.
Really?
Everybody on the damn phone all the time. Like, everyone
is connected.
Put the phones away. We went to brunch yesterday. Let's talk, guys. what's going on.
How are you feeling?
I want them to get, they haven't been connecting like they used to because they both got their own little situations going on now. And I'm like, you need to make time
for each other.
Make sure that y'all are doing things together. So, you got to designate time to discuss the important things.
Be intentional.
I talk to them about things, with me. Good. That I'm like, I want us to be in a place where y'all always feel like you can just talk to me. Mm-hmm. I want to know what's going on in your life. Like, the reason I'm telling you, because I'm your guide in this life. God gave me you and gave y'all me for a reason. So let's figure out what that is and maximize it as a family, So trying to get, the phones. When we ate today after church, we went to church today, and I'm like, phones down, we're gonna sit and eat and talk and stuff like that. Because I feel like it gets rid of that other part that we're talking about, where you can actually like someone more so than just love. You're like, oh, that's really cool. You did that. Like, learning about their life. What are they into? What's their, you know what I mean? Like, get curious.
Exactly. Be curious. Like, whoever I'm with, I really want to like them.
Yeah. Something that I feel like is missing and I long for is someone to be more interested in me as a person. Like, sometimes I feel like people meet me a lot of times.
Surface level. They
think they already know.
They think they know, but they really don't.
And it's like, you haven't even dug into me. Like, layers. My story, like I've been through some things. Right. Like, I have a different perspective on things and then you don't have that. It's like with your friends, like I could call them like, girl, whatever. But I'm like, I want a safe place where someone who gets me, like you're really trying to get to know who I am as a human being.
I think we have kind of lost that. And it was like how you, like what you said about the phones. I'm like, we're so connected, but we're really disconnected. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time I was taking Kiara bowling and she was on her phone. I was like, listen, we can download the app, girl. We ain't got to be here. Put that phone. Either you're going to be here and present.
Right.
Or we can go home and I can let you go play, in your room on that. And ever since then, like, she's been really good about it. So keep doing that because you do need downtime, right?
Yeah, because it's like I'm raising humans over here. And I'm like, I need y'all to understand how to connect on a human level
with
outside
others.
Of the computer, right? Like, so letting them know my vulnerabilities and letting them in on how I'm feeling about things. And I'm like, I feel away because sometimes I feel like I'm a little too, like, I don't want them to get with a woman and she's like emotional and whatever. And they be like, what the hell? Because my mama, she was a single mother and she ain't never done.
Right.
They
need to see that.
No. So I need them to see me feel, too, which is, it's also vulnerable because I just shut so much of that part of my life off to survive that, pulling those layers. That's why therapy is important.
Oh, so important.
What's your shirt say? I'm gonna need you to love God, read books, and be in therapy. I have that in sweatshirt form.
Oh, I probably need to get the sweatshirt. Ooh.
Yes. And so it's important because it brings up your awareness of these things. And then now it's like, oh shoot, like I'm raising sons. How I move is not necessary. It's based out of trauma. They're gonna get in a relationship with the woman. Marvin likes a girl now. So,
okay, cool. Ooh.
So I'm like, oh God, I gotta teach him all the things. Like, what are you supposed to do? You need to be respectful. What about her dad? Did you ask if she can talk to boys on the phone? Like,
right?
Do y'all be talking on the phone
these days?
I'm like, you still need to be respectful and know she got a daddy who's gonna care and make sure you ain't no knucklehead and make sure he knows that you get straight A's.
I'm smart.
I'm just saying, but these are the things that I was realizing, like, oh shoot, let me teach him he needs to know that there's things, and if you're not communicating, you're not getting none of that. And I don't know. I just feel like we need to get closer as a community, as a family, as Black people, as a culture, Black men, Black women. I'm very excited. If you're listening to this now, we're going to be going to Black Men in Tech next week. The
And
conference
you just came from Sisters in Sales.
Being around Black women, baby, is just another thing. We are just.
I'm going next year. Me and Kiara are gonna go. Even if
first
I'm
of
not
all,
selling anything.
let me just get this little commercial for
Please.
Chantel George and the Sisters in Sales team. They put on a production, baby.
What? Is it gonna be in New York next year?
I don't know.
Okay.
But all I know is they had Bevy Smith. I missed Taraji because I had to fly to California for my dad's golf tournament, which turned out great. Amazing. I'm so glad that I flew out there for that. I wasn't feeling it. What? Because I had to fly all the way from New York to California.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, Lord Jesus.
Different coasts.
But it was really good. My presence needed to be there to represent my dad. Like, that was a big deal. But Sisters in Sales, let me tell you, they did the thing.
I love it.
Connections were made. I mean, it was just so beautiful. I did my panel, the Rising.
I wasn't on a video. No,
star.
They didn't record.
There's probably a video. There is. They did a whole recording, so I'm sure the recording is somewhere.
Recording. I know you rocked it,
and I need to get it so I can repost somewhere.
Yes,
because I had started. I think the spirit was leading me because I started talking about being bold. I talk about, walking in your authenticity and not assimilating in these workspaces. I talked about Black women who are in sales to make a lot of money. Why? Because we out here taking care of Ray, Curl, Niecy, and them. And I was like, we could talk later about how we need to go to therapy and figure out why we're doing all that, because we should not be taking on that much of a burden, but we do. However, as a culture, I'm doing it, But if we're going to do it, you can make some money. So we talked about that. And when I say that after, like, so many women came up to me after that, like, they ended up interviewing me in a separate little thing they had called Sis TV. Yeah. And it's like a little segment. And the girl was bringing up like multiple points that I said. And I was like, I want to see. I was like, I said that. So they were just talking about like the authenticity piece and like really how to be your full self in a space that's isolating, And I'm feeling like that's a lot of my conversation that I'm having now about just walking in your fullness. And if you're not,
that's your TED Talk.
You're never going to make the impact that your presence should be making in this space, right? Like, yes, we need more Black women, more Black people in tech and sales and all that stuff. But if when you're there, you're not you.
That is so true.
You're never permeating the space with your presence. Like, we have a very infectious cultural impact as Black people. Everything we touch turn into culture. What is the culture now? What's cool? Black. Everything Black is cool. Our music, how we dress, everything we do. We just stylish. We stylish in athletics. Everything we do. So in your workplace, I know we didn't took a left, but anyway. You gotta bring that with you, because especially if it ain't a lot of us there. So now you got to share some of you don't have to tell your business, but you do need to share who you are, what you're involved in, the groups you're in. When we're talking, what'd you do this weekend? All that kind of stuff. Telling the real. You don't have to obviously tell everything going on, but I was at the Sisters in Sales conference.
Party turned up.
Right. I was at Lava Cantina. But
I went to
they be talking about how they went bar hopping and got drunk, and I mean, we don't need to be telling all that, but I'm just saying that's the type of stuff they'll bring up to you. We were at the lake this weekend at the lake house. We
went to the cabins.
We did this and that. Why you not? Because they don't get to experience. I feel like my coworkers are blessed, and y'all know y'all are, because I know y'all watch that. But they are, because I really come in my fullness. I share my world.
Same.
And I feel like it's important to do. It is a risk, depending upon what your work environment is. And if they're receptive and actually want you to be there, you'll know. You'll know once you do it, But if it's better to walk in the door that way, because then you'll know. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So I did all that. That went really well. And then I went over to the golf tournament, and he had so many people come up. I think that was probably one of the bigger ones that we've had. And it was so diverse.
Oh.
It was old white men that have been knowing my dad since they was in junior high. in high school and
I
stuff like
love it.
that, or played against each other, all this stuff. And I'm like, this dude was something else. I mean, and these men, they came out and we raised a good amount of money too. So the money proceeds that we raised from the golf tournament is going to a nonprofit called the Yamina Healing Circle. It's a organization for families who are suffering grief from the loss of a loved one to gun violence. Wow, so they have like these group
like
counseling sessions. And my dad was like their chaplain or whatever. So he would come there and pray with them and be with them, you know, and all that stuff like that. So that's where the funds are going this year. We usually do different places, but yeah. So
you've been busy and productive.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. That was like I had to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And God gave me a lot of great ideas while I was out there on the course. You wrote
them down.
Yes. I have a thing of notes of just stuff. And I was like, okay, now see, you about to stop doing this other thing. So you can
pour into.
But maybe that's because my energy needs to go into something.
So you got to say no to some things to say yes to the right thing.
Yeah. Because I feel like I was like, oh, this feels.
And you'll feel it.
Rich. Like it feels right in line of what, you know,
you should be doing.
I should be doing. So anyway, so
I love it.
Y'all see, I'm going through a lot of things right now, but
yeah.
You know. Anywho, we just need to make sure that our mental health is really top of mind. I really think it starts, you know, everything starts with the mind. Everything we do.
Everything.
So
our thoughts.
And don't deny what you're feeling. If you're tired, you're tired.
And it's okay to be tired and take rest.
Like
a lot of times we keep pushing, and we don't just stop and say, you know what, I've had enough.
Because you got so many people, y'all don't know. I've had so many times in life where I've had to cut people their water off, basically, when it came to just I was giving financially, and I'm like, I can't help you anymore. And that's a hard conversation to have with someone you love. You're like, I'm not helping you. Yeah. I'm realizing that I'm not helping. I'm enabling. So I'm gonna need you to go figure out something else. I can't be your source or your resource for this anymore. That's a hard conversation to have. Especially, like I said, with family, it's rough. But sometimes you gotta do it.
You do have to do it.
And because you're gonna fall apart. You're gonna lose multiple years of your life. I just read a stat that said Black women live 3 years less than white women. And they are attributing stress to the decline. I just read it like 2 days ago. And I'm like, I wish I would. I am not about to lose my years over somebody else. I don't care who it is.
Somebody, mama, daddy, or kids, something, or a job.
Nothing. So what are you going to do to prevent this?
Me continue what I'm doing. Like less is more is my mantra. Like I feel like we try and overload our plates and the grind and all of this.
I'm team sleep now. Ain't no team no
I've
sleep.
Been team sleep.
Team sleep is my new crew that I want to hang out with.
Come on over. Like my love language is like naps. Let's take a nap.
Yes.
Remember we went to the cabin, we took naps.
I take naps with my friends.
So that's my thing.
Yeah.
If we take a nap and you're not judging me, don't judge me.
Who judging naps? But people do be doing that. Oh, you gonna be asleep? We trying to turn it. Okay, well, y'all call me when y'all get back. When y'all get back, I'll be ready to go.
Exactly.
I'll be rejuvenated.
I'm your brunch girl. Hit me up for brunch or something. Early in the morning, I'm up at 5:00.
Right. I'm working on becoming that girl. I don't want to be out late.
I'm not a woman of the streets. I'm a woman of the sheets.
I'm a woman of the sheets.
Satin pajamas and nice cover. Nice sheets.
Well,
what are you gonna do? Why are you asking me?
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm doing it now. I mean, it starts obviously with evaluating what you got going on right now. Obviously, I'm dealing with also thinking about like, make sure you don't make permanent decisions in a temporary state.
True.
Right? Like I'm feeling away right now and I'm feeling pretty strong about my convictions right now.
And it might be I need a break. And then give me this break so I can reassess, because you have to go through what you're going through,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you may not have the energy for that right now because you need to focus on your healing.
Yeah.
So it might not be permanent, but it's a temporary situation. It's like a temporary job or a leave, you know.
And realizing that everybody deals with things differently.
Exactly.
And how you deal with it, you need to honor. Don't try to do like somebody else and, you know, like,
oh, if that was me, I would do that. And I don't expect a you out of anybody.
I don't know what, especially where I'm at right now, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
I'm just going with
day by day.
Every single day. I'm just like, okay, is today going to be productive? Are we going to have energy?
Yeah.
Or are we going to lay in a bed?
And then if you want to lay in the bed, it's okay to lay in the bed.
And then knowing that, okay, well, we can't lay in the bed that whole time. Let's get up. Let's
sit in it forever.
Right.
As long as you don't stay there.
Yeah.
There will be moments.
I don't know. I feel like I need, I just want to be loved right now. Like on some Jill Scott. I just want to be loved. I just want to be loved like everybody else does. I just want to be loved. Well, it is
cuffing season.
It is cuffing season. October 1st. What was October 1st is tryouts.
Tryouts. Where they at?
Well, I don't know. We might have to. I don't know what we're gonna do. We might have to skip this season.
Oh, I'm skipping because I want the real thing. I want that, like, ain't nothing like the real thing, babe. I'm old school. Give me the Temptations. Where is he at?
Real thing. Yeah, I feel you. I'm on that too. That's why I talk about the energy thing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, woo, you know, you might need to harness your energy and focus it in a place that's gonna give you what you're giving
and what you need.
You know, like I want to receive. I'm in a receptive state right now.
Reciprocal.
Yeah, I need to receive first. And then I reciprocate. But I need to see it because I'm about tired. I'll be giving a lot.
Love is in action.
And I'm a lover, baby. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Nah, but yeah. So I'm with
Enneagram 8. Go look that up.
Enneagram 8, yes. But I would have a 9 wing.
Don't you have a 9 and a 7?
They usually have them on the bottom. But that's kind of my, you know how you have one that's a little more.
Yeah.
I'm a peacekeeper. But yeah. So anywho.
We'll have another episode about our love after 40.
Love after 40. Put that in air quotes.
Love after 40. Love after lockup.
Right. That's how I feel sometimes. But anyway, y'all, all right, we are done. Make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel and our videos and things like that. And our podcast, make sure you are, if you're listening on a podcast platform like Apple or Spotify or wherever, make sure you leave a review, you know, and let us know if you're liking it. And all that stuff. Only let us know if you're liking it. If you're not liking it, just keep it moving.
Or loving.
All that. And we will check y'all out. Next week, I think we're going to talk about the metaverse. I think that's what we're going to be talking about next week. But it won't be us. We're going to have an expert. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, hopefully y'all will have a bold week. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.